Hello, and welcome to this week's Movie Math, where it seems that female moviegoers wear pink to the multiplex. Ooh, pink money, baby. Yes, while women had little to no interest in the Marvels or Birds of Prey, you can see their opening weekends and their, which gender demographic they skewed. They did like Wonder Woman, though, which actually, for a superhero movie, for Wonder Woman to skew slightly more female, that's incredible. But female moviegoers absolutely love Barbie, 71% female, Taylor Swift, 82% female, and now Mean Girls, again, 71% female. What in 2024 can build on this? If I were the head of a studio or any executive, I'd be like, find me some pink. Honestly, I looked at the slate and all I can really see is Wicked Part 1 at the end of the year. Now, I'm not saying other movies won't appeal to female moviegoers. Surely they will. But I'm talking one of these pink movies. What do you think the term should be? I kind of like calling it pink because these movies, particularly Barbie and Mean Girls, focus so much on pink and almost gave a directive, marching orders to their fans and the audience. Wear pink. I wore pink to both movies. All right, and it makes it more of a party. And so with Wicked, I can see that kind of being around the same thing. Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, though, both bring drama to that film behind the scenes with some of their personal situations. And also, of course, I think the jury is still out on Ariana Grande as a film actress, although I know some of you really rally behind her work on the smaller screen. If Hollywood is smart, though, as I said, they would say to their development executives, find me some pink, and to get some pink projects greenlit soon. By the way, that's like the whole mission statement of Margot Robbie's production company. I don't know if you can build a whole production company on this, but maybe you can. Next up for her, she's taken a flyer on Olivia Wilde. She's betting that Olivia Wilde didn't ruin her career with her own behind-the-scenes drama, although I suspect Olivia Wilde might have. But hey, show me a trailer for Naughty. Maybe I'll love it. Hey, and Margot Robbie doing a Christmas movie. We've all wanted more Christmas movies coming out of the theatrical space. Margot Robbie heard us. We're going to talk more about female producers in a moment. But first, with Mean Girls, not even a snowstorm sweeping across the country could keep the Plastics from slightly overperforming for the holiday weekend. They were expected to come in at around 30. They came in at 32. Even the NFL, to some degree, was shut down by the weather. Although, in some places, by the way, I have to say, speaking of Taylor Swift, while I do agree that it's a little bit too much at NFL games, I loved her look this weekend. I was like, damn, Taylor, you look fantastic. Nobody does a red lip like Taylor. She doesn't wear pink, actually, interestingly enough, although she leaned heavily into it for her movie. All right, so with lots of look at what we discussed at the female movies. With lots of fans snowed out this weekend in some places and no big movies opening this coming weekend, Mean Girls will keep its premium screens and could see a solid hold. Although maybe not. The diversity demos are not great, despite the diverse cast and promotion from Megan Thee Stallion. And the cinema score and RT audience scores also aren't great, although in that case, I think that has a lot to do with the number of OG Mean Girls fans not appreciating that this is, surprise, a musical. In fact, a clip of the audience groaning as Angourie Rice broke out into song during the movie went mega viral online. On the one hand, you're like, was it a mistake to hide the musical aspect of the film? But when you see these box office opening numbers, who cares? They took everybody. I think that's a question for what we see the week-to-week drops. If it falls off a rock, I don't want to ruin any of the funny gags in the movie. But if it falls significantly in the weeks ahead, well, then maybe the advertising campaign was a mistake. Although, I'll just say it now. Mean Girls was so freaking cheap to make. It cost just $36 million. That's jaw-dropping in today's world of like ridiculous movie budgets. It's all gravy, baby. It's all pink gravy. Also, thankfully, Mean Girls is the talk of social media in many ways. Get this. And that's so cute because the movie, of course, deals very heavily in social media itself. But the movie set a new record for hashtags, #Mean Girls, across all social media programs with 16 billion with a B. That's incredible. That's really fantastic. Furthermore, behind these female powerhouse movies are female powerhouse producers: Margot Robbie, Taylor Swift, and Tina Fey. This is a fantastic development because for years, female producers and filmmakers, for the most part, there were a couple of exceptions, usually involving Pink. I'm looking at you, Legally Blonde, and the original Mean Girls. That's so interesting that it so heavily involves Pink. But a lot of female producers and filmmakers seem to shun with pride the commercial parts of Hollywood, focusing instead on art house projects with their work. So to see so many girl boss moves, I think is quite exciting, especially because it counters some of the absolutely awful business decisions that some other women in the business have been making. And I think that's been really unfortunate because you see some of the talking points that evolve out of that. But now we have some primo examples of power. Oh, I love it. Also, I can't have this conversation without a shout out to Amy Pascal from Zero to Hero, although she was a studio executive, but that, the head of Sony. But then, of course, the email scandal looked like it was going to wipe her out. But it didn't. But it wasn't Zero to Hero just like that. She had a bit of a nervous breakdown, and she had to totally remake her career and claw her way back. But she did it. She did it. And also, she really deserves credit for putting Greta Gerwig on the mainstream map by selecting her to write and eventually direct Little Women. I love that movie. Very little Pink in that film. But there's a little Pink. But very little Pink in that movie. That's such a good movie. Didn't do as well as these other movies, though. Maybe if it had Pink, it would have done a little better. If I were a producer, I'd be like, I know it's superstitious and silly, but put some Pink on some people. All right, and while Mean Girls might be all about Pink, there will be no run in its ledger, as I said, because of that incredibly low budget. Wowza, that's something else that I think should be considered for, isn't it nice to see a small film have a small budget so that it has a chance in the theatrical space? Expect big career boosts for most people involved, everybody involved. It'll be great to have Mean Girls on their resumes, but I think especially Tina Fey, just like the first movie helped her out substantially. Directing duo Jane and Perez, I'd scoop them up if I were a producer. Avantika, I really think Avantika could get something out of this. She's been slowly but surely building a career, but this I think could really break her out. And then speaking of a breakout opportunity, Renee Rapp. I think she could definitely parlay this into another lead role. I would certainly be considering her if I were producing anything that I think might target the same demographic. Also, Ahi Cravajo has finally been able to break out of just being the voice of Moana. Just in time, too, as they are not going to continue with her in the live-action movie. She has spoken out about that and said she's happy that another actress, a Pacific Islander actress, will get an opportunity. But I sure hope Cravajo is in the movie somewhere. I mean, there's a lot of characters. She doesn't have to be a lead, but I think it would be really unfortunate if she did not appear somewhere in the film. Particularly after this, she's building her own career. And Cravajo, by the way, is a producer on Disney's live-action Moana, so she should keep that producer hat on and find a leading role for herself, and maybe if she has to, produce it herself. If I were her, I think she's got a bit of a Haley Steinfeld vibe, so I would take a look at Steinfeld's career as a possible roadmap. We see lots of all different kinds of actors do this. Angelina Jolie is heavily borrowed, Gal Gadot has heavily borrowed from Angelina Jolie, much to the annoyance of Angelina Jolie. But I think that, who do you think would be a good career map for Cravajo? I'm suggesting Steinfeld. Sometimes in Hollywood, the industry makes your dreams come true. And sometimes you gotta do it yourself. Who produced Barbie for Margot Robbie? Margot Robbie. Look at Sandra Bullock. She had to produce almost all of her own movies from 1998 to 2009. And after a very nice break, she now has to do it again. It's looking pretty good for musicals overall. Well, not all overall. We'll talk about The Color Purple in a moment. That's so sad. All right, but anyway, I love The Color Purple. Wonka, though, is now past 500 million worldwide. I'm so happy for that film. And what's more, in just a few days, it will knock Taylor Swift, out of the domestic top 10 for 2023. And it's already number 9 on the worldwide top 10 for the year, surpassing Quantumania and Elemental. Couldn't have happened to a better movie. Where's my sequel announcement? First I was nervous, now I'm starting to get upset. I hope it's soon. What's holding it up? Is it you, Timothée Chalamet? Timmy C? Are you asking for more money? You deserve it. Give it to him. He danced his little heart out. And kind of saying, he doesn't have a great voice. I don't care. He's a delight in that role. I want my sequel. I know some of you are dead set against it, but you probably didn't like Wonka. I think if Paul King is there, it'll be great. I mean, Paddington 2 surpassed the original, so why not Wonka 2? And you'll get a little bit more snarky Wonka, I believe, too. And maybe that'll bring more of you into the Wonka fandom. All right, so as for The Color Purple, hoo boy, that musical has already fallen out of the top 10 in just its third weekend, with a little under $60 million domestic. I don't believe it's opened overseas yet, for a $100 million budget. Not including advertising. Its last hope is awards noms. It did just okay with SAG, though. Only Best Ensemble and Supporting for Danielle Brooks. Horrible that Fantasia didn't get something. Hopefully it'll get a win somewhere, too. I mean, this is bleak. Maybe audiences will discover it on digital when it hits at the end of the month. One can only hope. I think it's an incredible film. Then, what did guys do this weekend? Well, apparently they went to see David Ayer's The Beekeeper, which he talked about less than his Suicide Squad cut. Right? The Ayer cut. You're like, dude, you have a movie opening this weekend. And he's like, the less we talk about it, the better. And I guess that worked for him because, look, it's number 2. And here's a surprise. It had the highest cinema score for the weekend. I mean, these cinema scores are low, right? That's how that happened. But still, you would never think the David Ayer movie would come out on top. The movie also seemed to appeal to almost all guys, as it has strong diversity demos. But whose win is this, David Ayer's or Jason Statham's? And is it even a win? I think in mid-January it is, kind of, right? But this is actually the typical opening for David Ayer pre-Suicide Squad. So at least that didn't kill his career. And Jason Statham, though, his box office is all over the place because he just wants to get paid. And I think he'll continue to get paid because, once again, he kind of delivered. And with this opening, Ayer will continue to make this type of movie. I don't think he's going to get back into the blockbuster space, but I don't really know if that's the space for him. He can't take it. He can't deliver, and he can't take it emotionally because I think at this point he's embarrassing himself at this age. He's like, he even said, I'm done with it, and then proceeded to talk about it for days on end. All right, so anyway, that sounds like a solid win to me. They both get to continue to work. And Jason Statham works a lot. Ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching. Tons of paychecks coming that guy's way. I saw the trailer for The Beekeeper the other day, and I was like, everyone involved in that should be embarrassed. And then Jason Statham, I imagine being like, I got paid millions of dollars for this. And I was like, touche, Statham, touche. Speaking of winners, Sydney Sweeney and Glenn Powell, they probably didn't get paid millions for this movie, but I think their $1 million paychecks are coming soon because they probably can't believe their luck with anyone but you. Remember, this movie seemed like it was going to bomb, but it's still holding incredibly strong in week 4. The movie will likely end with around $60 million domestic, which these days is pretty darn good. One would even say potentially impressive, especially when it gets to digital. I think it's going to blow up on digital and streaming. Could this movie's success help bring back romantic comedies to the theatrical space? Because recently, like with holiday movies, streaming services, speaking of streaming, have been taking the lead with that genre. And they do very well there. I know you guys, some of you are probably like, don't take my rom-coms on streaming away from me. You can keep them. But that doesn't mean theatrical shouldn't take a few swings with holiday movies too. And Migration, wow, 85.7 million and still climbing. Way past Wish at this point. 2023, by the way, has actually been a really good year for animation, with every studio in the mix. I think Bright Days, even brighter, it's really great now, but I think animation is only just getting started. Oh, it's so exciting! As for the rest of the top 10, Aquaman won't be able to stay afloat much longer in the theatrical space, but that's okay. He swam past the century mark domestic, something a lot of other superhero movies, as we said, haven't been able to do. And soon he will move to the digital pond, and then eventually the Max pond, right? And then who knows what other ponds, as Zazie has been making money off of sending Warner Brothers picks to other streaming services. There are a ton of them on Netflix right now. And in fact, one of those is the first Aquaman, which, as you're about to see when we get to the Netflix charts, debuted in their top 10. So, as I've said before, Warner Brothers is making money off of Jason Momoa. That relationship will continue. Night Swim can't stay afloat, though, falling 60% in its second weekend. And while horror movies usually do drop significantly in their second weekends, Night Swim is just at 20 million. Uni is racing this to digital, as they do with their flop, 17-day window. It'll be on digital in a week or so. Followed by India's Guntar Karam, Robert Redford's The Boys in the Boat. A nice little flick with a nice little box office number. That's real solid. That's going to do very well on digital and streaming. I loved that movie. And The Book of Clarence at the bottom with its opening weekend. Whew, yikes. I love Lakeith Stanfield. Love him. And so it saddens me to say that with this and Haunted Mansion, it's going to be hard for him to get more leading roles. Hopefully, he and his team are smart enough to pivot back to supporting to build his career back up and then try for leading roles again. Poor Things lost screens, lost them instead of gaining them, despite Best Picture and Best Actress in Comedy and Musical last weekend at the Golden Globes. That's, usually the strategy would be at that point to expand your theatrical count because, a lot of people are talking about your movie. Curiosity factor is going to go up. What's winning so many awards, right? Big ones, the biggest of the big. So that begs the question, what is the plan with Poor Things? Will it eventually go wide? What's going to happen for digital and streaming? The Oscars are still very far off. They're in March. Now, I suspect, due to the controversial nature of the film, which has been somewhat misrepresented in the ad campaign and by the cast and crew in interviews, when they were talking about it at the Golden Globes, they said it was a delightful romantic comedy. And I think those of us who've seen it are like, what now? I think it actually benefits Poor Things that most people outside of Hollywood in cinephile circuits have not seen the film. I think that really, really has been beneficial. So I think they're going to try and keep that going for as long as they can. I wouldn't be surprised if it skips going wide altogether because theater counts are supposed to continually go up or hold steady, not drop, like by 100 theaters. And then I think they'll probably wait until the Oscars themselves. I mean, maybe they won't be able to wait that long, but I think they're going to try and get as close. I mean, this is already an unusual release strategy. And then I think they could either expand the theatrical count then, but I think instead I'd keep the movie limited, extremely limited, with basically its fans, let it win an Oscar maybe, then right away stick it on digital, and then have everybody go, what the heck? A little bit like Shape of Water. I'm not sure what happened with Wide, but I know after it won the Oscar, a lot of people decided to check it out, and as I said, you leave that fish alone, lady. But I think Poor Things is even more offensive. But I know some of you really like the film. But I do suspect, well, let's just see what happens. And I'm curious just to see when that conversation is going to happen. When do you think you'll be able to see Poor Things, if at all? It's very interesting. I mean, this is definitely different. But I think when it comes to safeguarding your Oscar chances, sure, why not? Go for it. All right, so let's move over to streaming, starting with Nielsen for mid-December. It's nice to see some healthy viewership here finally, with the top 5 all above 1 billion minutes. Nielsen measures in minutes. The Obamas' Leave the World Behind is still number 1. I really like that movie. I thought it was really good. And I thought it was a perfect streaming movie. It was perfect for Netflix. And the release time that I watched it between Christmas and New Year's. This is mid-December still, though. I hadn't watched it yet at this point. But that gave it legs. Very well released. Very well made. Really, beautiful. But wow! Look at season 2 of Reacher Go. Hopefully there's more on the horizon. Speaking of futures for people's careers, for Alan Ritchson, besides season 3 of Reacher, which has already begun filming. He's campaigning hard for Batman, but I gotta tell you, I think he'd make a horrible Batman. I know some of you think that he would be good, but I mean, come on, he's clearly not Batman. Also, I don't see it, and I did see Fast X, where I thought he was absolutely awful. So I'm going to need something to rinse that out. Maybe for some of you, it's Reacher Season 2. I'm even kind of tempted to watch Reacher Season 2 because it's so slow right now. I'm skipping Season 1. But I don't know. Part of me is just shocked at how big Alan Ritchson has managed to make himself. It's like incredible. He's turned himself into a cartoon. If I were, speaking of career roadmaps, for him, I would give him Chris Pratt's. What would you give Alan Ritchson? I'd say, dude, follow Chris Pratt. In fact, I think Ritchson would make an excellent Booster Gold. He also, speaking of movies that he actually has coming out, he has a faith-based sort of film coming up at the end of this month with Hilary Swank. She's the lead, but I think Alan Ritchson's going to sell a lot of tickets. And based on the trailer, I actually am interested in this movie. I was like, that looks pretty good. So slow and steady, Ritchson. Slow and steady. Your time is coming. Don't rush it. You're a horrible Batman. The right role will come to you, just like Reacher did. And with the very last episodes of The Crown refocusing on Queen Elizabeth after taking a break for Diana, I loved those, though. Loved those episodes. But these final episodes I thought were very, very good. And it surged as well. For instance, that Princess Margaret episode, episode 8, Ritz, must see. Incredible. Netflix's My Life with the Walter Boys is also clearly a hit, which is why it got an instant season 2 renewal. Suits, by the way, is totally off the list. The end of an era. marked in a way by the reunion they had last Sunday on the Golden Globes. I really think Meghan Markle should have participated. I think it would have brought her some goodwill. I think it was, what do you think? I think you could argue that it maybe was beneath her, but she needs goodwill. I think she needs to show more that she's a team player, and I think she was a big part of Suits, and so I think it would have been nice if she'd been there. I'm sure they could have put her in like a good standing. She probably would have come out with the original too, because it was very much a trio on that show. All right, especially as it progressed and her character became a bigger and bigger part of the show. People watched all the episodes. That's why it did so well. You can't have watched Suits and not enjoyed Meghan Markle's performance. That's just a bottom line right there. And she should lean into that. But that's people liking her work. All right, on the originals chart, with the exception of Reacher, it's all Netflix. My gosh, come on, other streaming services, get in here. Especially when you look at the bottom of this chart and how weak these numbers are. You can't even beat these numbers? That's really surprising. While in movies, again for mid-December, it's crazy that Barbie is only number 3 here with a pretty low number itself, despite this being the week that it hit Max. It's not a full week, but it was most of the week. And that's incredible. Maybe everybody already bought it on digital when it came out. Is that the case? I bought it on digital. Who bought it on digital and didn't need to watch it on Max? They made a lot of money off Barbie. Don't worry about it. But still, that's surprising. Overall, holiday movies rule here with new entries, Candy Cane Lane and Family Switch. I like both of those, but I would only watch Candy Cane Lane again. And I would like them to make a second Candy Cane Lane. One with Family Switch was enough. But it's surrounded by old favorites, namely Home Alone, Elf, and 2018's The Grinch. I love the animated Grinch. It's the first holiday movie I watch every single year. I'm not eating sugar, but during the holidays, I always take a little bit of a break. So my routine is I make chocolate chip cookie dough, I have a little raw dough and make cookies while I have the Grinch on. And I watch the Grinch and I just love it. For me, that's the start of Christmas. It's so great. And so to see it joining the Justice League of holiday movies makes my heart grow 3 times. I'm just so happy for that movie. I love it. It's just Christmas at a gabillion. I love it. I love it. It's so gorgeous. And Benedict Cumberbatch is a great Grinch. The whole cast is great. Love that movie. On Netflix, I still respect the Jim Carrey Grinch, and I still like it, but this is my Grinch. On Netflix's chart, there it is, Aquaman, number 6, along with Angelina Jolie's Those Who Would Wish Me Dead, also on loan from Warner Brothers. It's so interesting. Netflix leaned hard into originals when the studio started to take their content away from them. First out of jealousy, you're not going to make hundreds of millions of dollars off of my content. And then when they started to have their own streaming services, they wanted that content for themselves. But look at Netflix now, baby. Everything came full circle. They've got Sony, Fox, Warner Brothers, and Universal Movies all here in the top 10. And they've still got originals too. And on that note, Rebel Moon's viewership might have cut to a 3rd in its 3rd week, but at least it only dropped to number 2. So that's good. With shows, so I think that it's not, I think, what you would expect considering all the noise that the Snyder fandom made. But I don't know, there was always that question as to how big the Snyder fandom really was. And I think this is certainly respectable. I don't know if Zack Snyder will get any more 2-part movies, but I think he'll get another Netflix movie for sure. With shows, Harlan Coben is clearly a commodity for Netflix. With 8 shows on this, Netflix is all about the Hollywood is a business of relationships, and Netflix knows that. They've got 8 Harlan Coben shows on the streaming service, and this latest one, hot out of the gate. Whew! Even with bad reviews, nobody cares. I told you Netflix's recent strategy is to have the review embargo lift when the show drops, and Disney borrowed that for the recent release of Echo. So at that point, it's too late to take a look at reviews because people already dive into the show. Although I know some of you said you still needed to know if it was worthwhile to watch the show. So I'm still going to try and drop reviews if I can. I've done that for a couple of the Netflix shows, like both halves of the final season of The Crown. It's rough in that space with the review embargo dropping the last minute, but I'll see what I can do. And you guys were right about Dave Chappelle. He soared in his first full week on Netflix, while Ricky Gervais fell from number 1 to number 8, and Trevor Noah completely fell out of the top 10 after just 1 week. But I recommend watching all 3 of these comedy specials. I would rate them Dave Chappelle, Trevor Noah, and then Ricky Gervais. If you watched all 3, I'd love to hear your rankings down below. Not that Dave Chappelle isn't still somewhat He's still a little problematic, and intentionally so, I might add. But he's a wonderful storyteller, and there's some very funny moments in his special, and also some I think really good life lessons. So yeah. So that's what I think. Netflix has found a real sweet spot with comedy specials, and they even have their own comedy festival every year to keep up their relationship with comedians. Prime Video managed to snag Nate Bargatze, who of course made a huge splash on Saturday Night Live last year. But how long until other streaming services realize that there's real money, or at least views, to be had here with comedians? They can pry some of them away. I would try. Unfortunately, despite a lot of media attention, The Brother's Son is off to a weak start. Rough time for Michelle Yeoh. Her Disney Channel series was canceled, and this is only moderate. But maybe, this is just the beginning. Maybe audiences will discover it in the weeks ahead. On iTunes, Napoleon is #1, but it seems to have replaced Apple's other 3-hour drama, Killers of the Flower Moon, which has fallen completely out of the top 10 despite Lily Gladstone's Golden Globes win. A nice mix of recent theatrical mixes here, as usual. Oppenheimer still doing incredibly well, surely getting a surge from all of its Golden Globe wins last weekend. Anatomy of a Fall is also doing very well. It had 2 wins last weekend. While Bottoms and Dumb Money, they're doing quite well because they're on sale. As for this coming weekend, get ready to feel the effects of the strike yet again, as it's going to be a pretty barren landscape until March. But there is a couple stuff coming up. Although not this week. All right, so on Friday in theaters, there's Origin. That's the Ava DuVernay movie with the actress Ellis, who was, I tweeted out, was flyering for her own film in front of the Century City Movie Theater in Los Angeles. That's that movie. It was the AMC Screen Unseen, I think a week or so ago. And some of you said the film was, you really enjoyed it. And then ISS, those are the movies opening wide. Well, The Marvels hits digital on Tuesday. We'll see if that can maybe find some audience there. Let's just see. Then we'll discuss the results. As for series, speaking of kick-ass ladies, these Jodie Foster and Callie Reese, love them. True Detective season 4 starts tonight. Strong recommend. I love this show. Check out even though it's a little soft in the middle, check out my review link down below. The Critics' Choice Awards, of which I'm a member, are also tonight, while the Emmys are tomorrow night. Remember, they were delayed due to the strikes, the SAG strike in particular, because nobody could attend. That's on tomorrow night, Monday, which I will be live tweeting. On Tuesday, Hulu starts Death and Other Details, while on Friday, Showtime and Paramount team up for another show, which they'll be releasing on air and on the Paramount Plus streaming service, The Woman in the Wall. While Prime Video starts Has Been Hotel. This is very interesting. This is an animated series from A24. I know some of you love A24. Well, here you go. They also, of course, I believe, were behind Nimona. This is spinning off of the very popular YouTube channel VisiPop, where they actually did a pilot for Has Been Hotel 4 years ago, and it's at 96 million views. So this might make a dent. And that's this week's, a lot of pink in there, a lot of pink in that show. All right, and that's this week's Movie Math. What have you been watching? What do you plan to watch? And what do you think of how well Hollywood is doing with female moviegoers? And do you think they can keep it going? And how? And what do you think Alan Richardson should do? A lot of questions this week. I'm excited to hear your thoughts down below. Be sure to share them, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.